Good morning and welcome to Project Ready's first virtual session of the new year. My name is Erica Smith and I'm the Director of Education and Youth Development for the Urban League of Hampton Roads. And the Urban League is one of the oldest civil rights organizations in the country. As an affiliate, the Urban League of Hampton Roads offers programs and services in the areas of housing, employment, health, entrepreneurship, and education. We are the only organization with every program solely dedicated to closing the racial wealth gap within the community. If you haven't already, please follow us on our social media pages for the latest information on events and programs being offered. Additionally, visit our website, www.ulhr.org, if you or someone you know is interested in our first-time homebuyers classes, financial coaching opportunities, and so much more. Project Ready is our current educational program geared toward minority students prepare for college and career after high school. It is co-chaired by actors Charnel Brown and Darrell Bell, who played Kimberly Reese and Ron Johnson, respectively. Hopefully, you've all had an opportunity to attend or view our last month's session on college readiness. It is now available on our webpage as well. Today's topic is how to keep the bag. And I want to take the time now to introduce our very own financial coaches. Um, Francine, Allen-Humphrey, Candice, Bryant, and Dyceilia Weiss. Please feel free to post your comments and questions in the chat as we proceed, and we'll make sure to address them during the session. We're first going to hear from Ms. Bryant, who's going to speak generally about budgeting and avoiding debt. Candice?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Erica, for that wonderful introduction. I'm going to share my screen right now. So today we're going to talk about debt and budgeting. Can you guys hear me and see my screen? Can you guys hear me and see the screen?
Yes, we can hear you, Candice, but we don't see your screen yet.
Okay. So today we're going to talk about debt and budgeting. So I just want to share what debt, the definition of what debt is. It's something usually money borrowed by one party or another. So up here I have student loans, credit cards, cell phone bills, and car loans. So I'm going to break it down and unpack one by one. Student loan is when you go to college and you borrow money to attend college. It could be a four-year university, it could be a training program, or it can just simply be a community college. Credit cards. I'm kind of infamous with the credit cards. When you start school, those creditors be out there, Capital One, one in particular, try to get you to get a credit line with them and actually spend. So that's one of the main debts that I can think of when it comes to credit cards. Cell phone bills, Verizon, Sprint. If you ever have purchased a phone and you did it on credit, that's one of the things that Verizon and Sprint and other providers provide. You know, hey, get the cell phone and just make monthly payments on it. Car loans is another example of debt that you can borrow from your financial institute, your bank, and so forth. What causes that? Like I mentioned before, education, student loans, not having a budget, poor money management, and lack of emergency savings. So that's one way that can cause your debt if you don't have money to pay towards an unexpected medical bill or an emergency and you have to use your credit card. That could be one way that you can go into debt. You bear with me. Okay. I do apologize. I'm trying to figure out why my screen is not continuing. Bear with me one moment. My apologies. Can you guys see the screen now? I had some technical difficulties.
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you so much. Tips for avoiding debt. Pay with cash, avoid buy now, pay now. Providers like Zip and Afterpay, Affirm, Sizzle. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of these financial providers that can actually give you credit to purchase something and you pay for it later. You're only postponing the debt when you use these type of buy now, pay later services. And also it keeps you from not staying within your spending limit. If you're an impulse purchase person who like to buy things when they see them, this is one of the things that they encourage you guys to use when you want to buy a big purchase. All right. Now this is income and expenses. We're talking about budgeting. A budget is a process of creating a plan to spend your money. As you know, it's important. I apologize about the background. It's very important to have a budget because you want to know where your money is going rather than finding out where it went to. So that's important. And that's just simply budgeting your income and your expenses together. Current slideshow, I do apologize. Okay. And like I just mentioned before, difficulties. A budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. I personally follow Dave Ramsey. He is awesome guru when it comes to personal finance. If you guys have not heard of him, I suggest you just research him. He provides a lot of tips about personal finance and debt. Creating a budget. Determine your monthly income. List fixed expenses such as automatic deposits into your savings, because that's important. We want you guys to have a good nest egg savings account. List variable expenses such as groceries and restaurants and shopping. You want to make sure that you know that you have these things included in your budget. Evaluate your spending habits and check in with your financial goals and adjust, which is very important. If you're spending too much money, you're not able to save or set aside money for your financial goals. That's one important thing that you could do when you're creating a budget. All right, tips for building a successful budget. One of the things is set specific goals. Figure out what's important to you. Use tools that work for you. An example would be a template, apps, and planners. Personally, I use a lot of apps and templates for me to set my personal goals. So you just have to figure out which tool works for you when you're creating a successful budget. And then ultimately review your budget. You know, are you meeting your goals? Are you setting your goals? Are you being specific, excuse me? Are you being intentional with your goals? So that's another thing to also look at as well. Okay. I do apologize. My screen just stopped working. Okay, you guys, my apologies. So that brings us to the end of my presentation. Apologize for having difficulties. Do anybody have any questions?
Okay, I'm just checking the chat, Candice. I don't see any questions right now. Maybe they'll have some later as we continue throughout the session. Oh, wait, Nikki Allen has a question. You can either unmute or type it in the chat.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead, Sarah.
Okay, I just want to know how everything like works. Like, how does everything, you know?
I'm sorry, you had a lot of background noise. What do you mean, how does everything work as far as?
As like the program, like how does like how does everything happen? Does it like just like you just like question people like specifically, or you talk to everybody, or?
Well, right now we're just having a general session, so everybody's a part of it, and we'll have panelists that are going to talk to you about these different topics. But if you have other questions, we can talk about that after the session.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. All right. Hey, Lauren, you have your hand up. You have a question?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
I wanted to know, is there like a specific credit card company or credit card that you think would be best to start off with? Because I've heard that too, that there's, a lot of credit cards trying to get at you, but it just makes you end up in debt.
Okay, I have an opinion, but Candice, did you want to go ahead and answer?
Yes. So with credit cards, just be mindful. We don't advise against credit cards. But at the same time, I think that's a conversation that you may want to have with your parents as well. Personally, if you can avoid credit card, I would strongly encourage you to avoid credit card just to avoid that debt. Now, if you're a type of person where you may have an emergency as far as car issues, car maintenance, or just needing gas, I suggest you use the credit card wisely, but maybe with a limited spending amount, or either you could do a secure credit card, which is probably would be the best option to go. A secure credit card is your money. So you put your money up front. For an example, depending on your bank, if you're banked with a credit union, they have usually like a $500, $300 minimum for a secure credit card. So it'll be your own money and you'll be building your credit at the same time. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and we'll definitely give you Candice's information. There might be an opportunity for us to do some one-on-one counseling in that regard, but we can definitely talk about that a little bit later in the session. Are there any other questions? I didn't see any hands raised. Okay, All right, so next we will hear from Miss Francine Allen-Humphrey. She's a financial advisor here with us at the Urban League as well, and she's going to talk about effective saving and investing early. Thank you, Francine.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm going to share my screen. I'm so happy that you all are here. And so far, you've gotten some great information from Candice, and we are going to be available after this session. So please, if you think of something afterwards, please let us know. So I'm going to be talking to you about saving. And we oftentimes think because we're young people in high school and thinking about college or not really sure if college is going to be our goal, that we have plenty of time to start saving. But I want you to throw that idea out of the window right now. Now is the perfect time to start thinking about savings while you're in high school. And you're always going to have to rely on someone else to help you. So most of the time, your parents help you and they teach you habits, whether they're good or bad. But we want you to start thinking about your own habits and incorporating your parents and your guardians alongside of you to make sure that you know what you need, how much you're going to need when you get out there into that big bad world. And being in high school, you're probably thinking, I don't have to worry about it, but it's the perfect time to start now. So you want to learn how to manage your money now so that when you get older and when your life starts to change and you graduate from college and you start a family, you'll know exactly what to do. Soon you will be entering college and into the workforce, and where your parents will no longer be in charge of your finances. Then what are you going to do if you don't learn some of the skills and trades now? So we get the opportunity today just to share a few things with you, but we always advise that you seek professional help to help you, and especially when it comes to investing. So our objectives today is to emphasize, start now. Some of you may already have a savings account, and if you do, you can type that in the chat if you want to share that information. And when did you start your savings account as well? And Candice just talked about having a budget, but your budget has to be realistic. It has to be a budget that you can maintain on your own. And save with something in mind. What are you saving for? Are you saving to make sure that you always have lunch money? Are you saving for a car? Are you saving because you don't want to go to college and you want to start a small business? What are you saving for? So you always have to be thinking about why you're saving your money, because if you don't have a plan, then you're not going to save any money. You're just going to continue to spend it. If you don't have a savings account, open one. Get your parents to go with you to the bank and open one, or your guardian, whoever is in charge of helping you to move forward in this process, and leverage your student discounts. What that means is a lot of times you get discounts just for being a student. And so leverage that, and the money that you save, put that into your savings account. I know when you take certain classes in like driver's education, they give you discounts on your parents' insurance. And that's something that can help you in the future. So anything that your school is offering, and you're going to have to find out, because each school is different, what discounts they have for individuals. So make sure you're taking advantage of that. And please continue to talk to your parents. I know you're thinking, I'm about to graduate, I'm going to college, I'm going to be on your own. But who is going to be there to support you? Your parents and your guardians and your teachers and your mentors and your church family. So continue to talk to those people, because it's so important that you have that guidance and that full understanding of what you're about to embark on as you enter into the college world. And get started now and reward yourself. So if you're saving for that car, and I don't suggest that you get in debt and buy a fancy, like Lamborghini, whatever the, muscle cars. I think my son always liked the Charger, but we encouraged him to get a car that he could pay for himself. And then later on in life, save for that big expense that you're going to have. So just start thinking about it now. What do you want to do? This is the part where most of my students get excited about, because they want to start thinking about investing. They hear about it all the time. They see all the things on television telling them that you can invest and you can make all this money. But the one thing that I have to say, if you don't take anything else from anything I say today, is don't invest any money that you can't afford to lose. And you probably have heard this before, but you want to save first. You want to build up that next egg. You want to have that emergency fund in case the car does break down and you don't have to tap into your credit card if you actually have one. we say if you save, then you can borrow from yourself. So if you have money already saved in an account, you don't have to worry about charging it on a card. Anytime you're thinking about savings, again, you have to make sure you know what you're doing. Go to the bank, get to know who your banker is. And if you're going off to college, once you get to where you're going to be, build that relationship there as well, so that you'll have a place to go in case you need some money for emergencies, but save first. And then consult those professionals, your bankers, your other financial institutions. If you're thinking about investing in any kind of stocks and all of that, that's something that you have to learn about. It doesn't come to you naturally. We see people all the time saying that they invested in this and they're earning money. Yes, but you have to do the research. And a lot of times my high school students want to know, can I have an account in my own name? The only time you can have a investment account in your own name is if you're working, because you have to have your own income that you manage on your own, and then you can have those accounts in your names. You can get RAs, because we hear that all the time, and RA is your retirement fund. And so you're thinking, I'm young, I have plenty of time, but we don't know what tomorrow brings. So start now. How many of us, and even your parents online today, and how many of us who are in this profession wish that we had somebody that come to talk to us when we were in high school, so that we could have learned how to save at an early age and learn how to build wealth. And wealth all the time doesn't always mean that you have to start out with a lot of money. You can start out with a very small amount, and you need a period of time to save that money, and you're going to see how your money grows. And then, of course, planning for the future. And again, we're so happy that you are here today. And we know you probably have many questions after this session. So please feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to go over anything that we talked about today, and even more planning for your future. I want you to just lean in real close and look at these little dots here on this page. And you see the first one that says $5 a day. Now, how many of you out there can save $5 a day? And because I can't see you, I'm trusting that you're raising your hand, and you can. So if you could save $5 a day, that's going to be your savings account, correct? You're going to put that money away. You're going to put it in the bank. And then, but once you start to think about that, you're going to think, well, that's about $150 a month. And how did I get that amount? Because $5 times 30, which is usually the month, equals $150 a month. But you can still do it. So again, lean in closely. You could save $5 a day, $150 a month. Over 40 years, you would have about $73,000. Actually, it's $72,000, but I added just a little bit more for the interest rate, which is about 1%. Now that sounds exciting, right? You're in high school, you can save this, and when you get ready to retire, you're going to have $73,000. Now I want you to put your eyes over to the other column. If you can still save that same $5 a day over a period of 40 years and add an interest rate to it of about 10%, you could have $1 million. Now, this math does not make sense, of course, but what I just taught you was the secret to building financial wealth. It takes an amount of money, it takes a period of time, and a long period of time, unless you hit the lottery. And so we don't speculate on lottery and all of that, but we want you to have a realistic goal, what we talked about earlier. Look at how you can grow your money with a 10% interest rate over a period of 40 years, and you could be a millionaire. And how is this done? It's done with a tax deferred account. Now, of course, you may not have ever heard of that. Has anybody ever heard of compound interest? And you can type that in the chat. I'm sure your parents have heard of that. And so what happens is your money is compounding over a period of years. And with the formula for compound interest is the rule of 72. And I know this is a little bit complicated, but it's fun. If you really get into it and do the math, you'll see how much fun it is. And so most of us only have one 72-year period in our life if we're lucky and live to be past the age of 72. And when you're using compound interest, it multiplies your money, and it teaches you how fast your money is going to double. So again, I want you to go back to the first column, look at that, say just saving $5 a day with a low interest rate of about 1%. over 40 years, that's a lot of money. But look at that other column. Which one would you rather have? And we can talk about this offline, because I know that I want to make sure we have time for our next speaker. So thank you so much for joining us today. And I know that you have questions, and this is the time for Q&A.
All right. Thanks, Francine. I'm going to look at the chat and see if there are any questions right now, or if you want to unmute, just raise your hand and you can unmute. Or if you just need to think about it a little bit longer, we can come back. We will have another opportunity closer to the end of the session to answer any other questions that come up.
I see a hand raised. Is it Kaya Studevant? Their hand is raised.
Sorry, I didn't mean to raise it. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, and Lauren, I appreciate that. Okay, so if there are no questions right at this moment, then I want to introduce our next and final speaker, Ms. Dyceilia Weiss. She's going to talk about credit and the importance of maintaining a good credit score and what that means to you right now and what it will mean to you later. So, Dyceilia.
Good morning, everyone. What a pleasure it is to be with you today. And definitely discussing credit is my passion. I've been in the industry for 7 years. And when I first started talking about credit, it was something that I was afraid of. And because we hear so many negative things about credit, but as time went on and understanding there's good credit and there's bad credit, I changed my my thoughts on how we can use credit. So with credit, this is a great way to jumpstart your financial future. And as you heard earlier, that credit is basically someone trusting you. They get a loan they loan you money with the expectation that you will pay it back at a future date. So your creditor is the person or the company who you owe the money to. So with that, I know that as we went through high school, we will always ask, a friend or someone, hey, can I borrow this and I'll give it back to you. We were already introducing ourselves to credit because basically that is what credit is. But I want to go a little bit further now, since we're talking about jumpstarting your financial future and all the aspects of credit and what is involved in when you get a credit card and how we're going to use it. So most of the credit cards that we have, you want to buy, you're in college now, they introduce you to the student credit card. There's an annual, most of the student credit cards don't have an annual fee. However, there are credit cards that have an annual fee. And the annual fee is the company is asking you to pay a certain amount of money just to hold their card. Is there a benefit to that? That will depend on you, because there are some credit cards that have rewards. If you spend $500 and you get a 2% reward back at the end of the month, that's $10 that goes back into your account. Or for students that are going to college and they're going to be away from home, there are credit cards that will give you airline mileages. So now you're able to save up and you can buy your plane ticket to go home for the holidays and things like that. In all that we're doing, so that annual fee may be a benefit to you. When it talks about that $500 that you're going to be spending, there's an annual percentage on that. If you don't pay it off each month, the amount that you're using, then definitely you're going to be accruing interest on that. I think the best way to keep from accruing those interests is pay your credit card debt or balance on time. Anytime you pay your balance on time or at the due date, that's that payment due date, you avoid those interests. when you make a purchase using a credit card. They asked the question, I would like to ask or propose the question to you. Is it beneficial to you when you have a balance on your credit card to just pay the minimum payment on that? And here's what they're like. You have $500, there is 15% interest on that. How long is going to take you at the minimum payment to get that paid off? And I'll show you that on our next screen. And then exactly how much you're actually paying if we pay the minimum balance. There's always a grace period. So we know that our payment is due on the 1st. They're going to give us a grace period of 5 days to get that payment in there. This allows us to avoid those other fees like late fees or additional interest and things like that. Most of our credit cards have a credit limit. That is going to depend on you. Is it easy to maintain? Because that's my thing is, are you able to maintain the amount of credit that they are trusting you with? If not, lower your credit limit. If you have a $500 credit balance and you're seeing that you're going over it, making it kind of difficult to, then just ask them. You can always call the company and say, hey, can you lower my credit limit? Lower it to 300. This has helped you, as Candice was sharing, it helped you to not get into debt where you would become a ball and chains to you. Definitely because of those late fees when you miss payments. And always know what the terms and the conditions of that credit card that you're going to be using. So we were talking about, you have that $500. Is it beneficial to make that minimum payment? Here, as you look at the balance below, that $500, that 15%, you're only making a $20 payment on that item that you made. In the long run, to pay that off in a 2.4 years, you're paying a total of $100. So if that was a refurbished phone that you bought and you had it for 2.4 years now that phone has actually cost you $600. So it's up to you to always, when you're able, either pay it off or pay more than the minimum balance on your credit card. However, and I think you heard earlier today, when is it a good time to use a credit card? Especially if you're in school. I would say maybe your student loan did not pay all of your book expenses. Okay, so, and I need to get this book for my class. Can I use my credit card to get the book? Absolutely, yes. That will be, I would say, a very intentional reason for me to use the credit card. Would I use my credit card because all my buddies are going out till the weekend and I don't have the money to go out, but I want to be with them? Am I intentional when I'm using that credit card? I would think twice about it, because then again, if I don't have the money now to pay the balance when it comes in, will I have the balance later? So definitely be very proactive if you choose to buy or apply for a credit card and choose to use it. Because what we're doing when we're talking about all that we're talking about creating this 3-digit number, which is called your credit score. And as you're building your financial history and that credit score is going to go with you from the time you start college and beyond. And those things that you're doing, how you're paying your bills, is it on time? This will benefit or make that 3-digit number go up or down. So can it help the creditor to determine if you credit worthiness? Yes, basically that's what it is. You're at a position where you want to buy a car. Great. They're going to want to know, so what is your credit score? That credit score is going to determine whether you get a low interest on that car or whether or not they even give you the loan altogether. So having a high credit score, it makes it easy to get a loan. It makes it easy to rent an apartment. It gives you lower insurance, even a cell phone. If you were thinking about buying a cell phone, they absolutely look at your credit score for that. So your credit history, what you're building with using a credit card, making your payments on time, definitely it is helping you to build a great financial history for those items, that those big purchase items later on in life. And then just these are some things that you heard earlier, how to build your credit score. But one of the things that on here that I would like for you to point out is, or for you to address is, always look at your credit report. At this time, you can get a credit report for free. Annualcreditreport.com will allow you to pull your credit, see what is in. Why is that important to see what's on that credit score or report? Perhaps there are things on there that don't belong to you. You need to know that so you can continue to build that financial history and making sure that your credit score stays high. And one of the biggest tools, and because that's what it is, a credit card is just a tool. Money is a tool. Credit card is a tool. It's going to be how you use it. And especially as a college student, the first line of credit that we're going to receive is our student loan. And I just wanted to say, if you have an opportunity, and I think I heard Francine say earlier, talking to those that can help you to strategize in getting that student loan paid off sooner rather than later. I am amazed that many of us don't think about, can I graduate with no student loan? Yes, but how can we plan for that? So have a plan in place to make sure that if you do have student loans, you can get that paid off. The student loan going to be your first line of credit. And then here's some other major lines of credit when you're going to purchase and buying a house, buying a car and furniture. These are some major types of ways that you would use a credit card. And so my tip again, always pull your credit each year, or maybe 6 months to a year, look and see what's on there. Be very intentional in how you choose to use your credit card. And my apologies on that. Be very intentional when you're applying for a credit card, and then know the interest rate that you'll be paying if you carry over balance on your credit card. Erica, thank you so much. I'll give it back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Dyceilia, for that information. I do see that there are some questions in the chat, but it looks like Francine is answering that question, but I'll repeat the question just in case everyone didn't see it. But it was a question about suggestions and recommendations for making an income while actually in college. I know for me, I did work study and I had a part-time job while I went to college as well. So they were office hours, so I didn't have to worry about working very late, and I could build my class schedule around that. So it just depends on what's available and what that student is comfortable doing while actually attending college. So are there any other questions? You can raise your hand and unmute or type it in the chat. Give it a second here. All right. Of course, we'll share the contact information for our panelists today. So if you do have questions later or interested in some additional counseling, then they'll be able to do that. Let's see, one more question. Can your parents add you to their credit card to get you credit?
I can answer that. And it's
Okay.
absolutely yes. That is one of the most beneficial ways for you to be able to build your credit as you are authorized user, being added as an authorized user. So the credit card and creditors will look at the credit score of your parent, and it will be also applied to you as well.
And I want to add to that, if you're letting your students' parents use your credit card, they'll make sure that they know what the limit is, because any debt that is placed on that card, it goes against both of you. So make sure that there's a conversation about how they're going to use the card. I know some of my parents, what they're doing, they do have their students on their card, but they don't actually have a card to use. The parent still controls the card, because it's nothing like having a card and your mama said you could spend $200. She didn't tell you what you could spend it on. So, so just make sure that there are limits and there are guidelines that you're going to have to follow, because you don't want your parents to get in debt as well, because they will have to pay that back.
Yes, thank you. All right, any other questions? I don't see any in the chat, but I'm gonna give you a second if you're typing while we prepare for our next section. All right, so again, the contact information will be provided to you. So if you have questions and are interested in one-on-one counseling, our financial advisors here will be able to provide you that assistance, or at least refer you if that is not something they are able to help with. All right, so at this time, we're going to conduct our raffle for this particular session, and it is a $100 raffle. Again, you have to be registered and in attendance in order to actually win. If you are announced, we'll see your name, and I need you to mute, make sure that you're present, and type your email in the chat just to confirm. That can be sent to me directly. I know when you register, it puts your email address in there, but I would need to make sure that I'm sending your prize to the right place. All right, so let's get ready. Okay, so I have all my registered participants. All right, Paris, is Paris on with us today? I'm looking in the chat. If you are, Paris, can you unmute for me? Let me know if you're here. Oh, Paris. Going once, going twice. We are going to respin. All right, Jamel, are you here with us? If you are, can you unmute and let me know you're here? I didn't see it, Jamel. Oh, look, I know many of y'all are praying like, oh gosh, I hope he's not here. Let me think. Going once, going twice. All right. Let's hope it's the last time we spin. Allison, are you here?
I'm here.
Perfect. Type your email on here. Congratulations. You have
Ooh,
won.
Allison.
Yes, Allison. All right. So she is our winner today. Go ahead and just confirm your email for me in the chat. All right. So if there are no other questions, that really will conclude our session today. Again, I want to make sure we provide all of you with the information for all of our participants and panelists today that were speaking with you and giving you all this valuable information. All right, so again, I want to thank our panelists for their participation today and providing this information, as well as all of you for coming today, because we certainly know how important financial literacy is in our community, and we want to make sure that you have everything that you need in order to be successful. As well as we want to thank our co-chairs, Daryl Bell and Charnel Brown, for their undying support and participation when they are available. Again, thank you, and we will make sure that this information continues to flow so you can take down any of the information on our panelists. Give us a call. My information is also in the chat. If you have questions about the program, what we're doing for the next sessions, because definitely we want you to register. You do have to register for each individual session. So make sure that you are signed up for next month's session, which we will have Black entrepreneurs to speak to you about entrepreneurship, starting your own business, what that really looks like, and how you can make a difference in your community by committing to excellence. And also in March, we will start our career readiness series. So part 1 will be in March, and in April will be part 2. If you are a senior, by all means, please go to our website, www.ulhr.org, to apply for the scholarship or career stipend, whichever pathway you're choosing. We want to support you in that endeavor. So our scholarship is available. The application is up and running online. The website again is www.ulhr.org, and I will type that in the chat as well, and it should come onto your screen also. The scholarships are due, the application is March 25th, and so 11:59 p.m. It's all electronic, so all you have to do is fill that out and upload any required documentation. The criteria and requirements are there as well. So please check us out on Facebook and Instagram as well. You can follow us, Project Ready. And we would love to have you again next month. We will raffle off another $100 at each of our virtual sessions. So if you have a friend, tell a friend, join us. I do know that some of you are experiencing some difficulties with getting on to the Zoom or getting that Zoom link from Eventbrite. So I am aware, and I will make sure that we have that taken care of for the next sessions. But you did the right thing in emailing me to get that link. So I'll make sure that we get that taken care of. So Daryl Bell is actually joining us for our next session. He is one of the entrepreneurs that's going to be speaking, and we're so excited about our co-chairs participating. Again, if you didn't see the session in November, Charnel Brown spoke in regards to mental health. So we are more than excited about having him join us next month, talking to us about Black entrepreneurship, making a difference in the community. Hopefully you are familiar with the show. If you're not, I think it's still on Prime, Netflix, something. You can see A Different World. TV One is still airing those episodes if you're unfamiliar with the show. I know some of my parents out there know exactly who we're talking about. So make sure that you join us next month, along with some other special guests that are going to talk about following your passion, being creative, and making your own footprint in this world. So if there are no other questions, we're going to end the session now. Again, congratulations, Allison. I will be getting with you shortly today. And I look forward to having you all with us next month. And that session is on February 19th. Again, Black entrepreneurs are going to be sharing their experiences and expertise and knowledge about how to be a successful part of this community. Thank you again for attending. Have a good day and stay safe in the snow.